Good morning, folks. It's lovely to see the sunshine, isn't it? Okay. Why you? This is the question you need to be able to answer for an interview. It's as simple as that. Why you? For the next 20 minutes, I'm going to take you through some tips, tools and techniques to help you build your confidence so you can answer this question. My name is Bain. I have 15 years experience in supply chain management in the pharmaceutical industry, and I have the last 13 years, I have been working with leaders, managers and people to develop their professional skills. So, why you? What we're going to do is 3 key areas we're going to look at. We're going to look at the purpose of interviews, what they're all about, just get back to basics. Then we're going to look at the preparation that you need to do for your interview. And then we're actually going to look at presenting yourself. So when the day itself comes along, what do you need to think about when it comes to presenting yourself? The purpose of interviews. If you think about it, an organisation is just like a big jigsaw puzzle, okay? Big jigsaw puzzle, and there's a piece missing. So it's going to be very, very important that your employers get the right piece for the jigsaw puzzle. And what employers actually do is actually take a good long look at what this missing piece is. They'll actually pull out all the activities that are needed for this role, because they're effectively going to be entering into a contract. If you do this, I'll give you this, okay? So it's very, very important from an employer's perspective to get this piece right. And this is where you get your job description. You may have heard of a job description. If anybody's ever written one, they're not easy to do. But a lot of time and effort goes into it to think, well, what's the right shape? What's the right shape of the person so that we've got the right skills, knowledge and experience for them to be the right fit for this organisation? Again, think about the terms of the interviewers, because there's an awful lot of pressure on the interviewers. I know people don't feel very sympathetic for interviewers, but believe me, it's a very, very responsible job. Because what's the impact if you don't get it right? What's the impact if you don't get the right person for the job? Yeah. It's not good for the organisation, it's not good for the team, it's not good for the individual, and it actually doesn't look really good from an interviewer's point of view. Oh, you wouldn't believe who they put into that job. They're just not the right person at all. Okay? So the interviewer has a role to play in the interview. Before the interview, they'll have looked at the missing piece. They'll look at the gap. This is what we need. And take a lot of time to think about that. And if I was then to use here the stadium as an example, and we're all the managers of the stadium, and we need somebody for reception desk, for example, okay? So that's the missing piece, reception desk. So what would we be expecting them to do? Meet and greet customers, solve problems really quickly. Those are the type of activities. In order to do those activities, what are the traits and characteristics we would want that person to have? Interpersonal skills, communication skills, problem-solving skills. So those are the things that the interviewer is wanting to draw out of the interviewee. What are your communication skills like? What are your interpersonal skills like? Because I'm going to put you into this job and you'll be faced with hundreds, maybe thousands of people on any one day, and you need to be able to work with these people, okay? Say for example then, we're still the managers. Say for example then we wanted somebody in the finance role. What would you expect somebody in a finance role to have to do? Issue invoices, do monthly reports, analyse statistics, do cost evaluations. So for a person for that piece of the jigsaw, those are the activities. So therefore, what are the traits and characteristics we'd be looking for? Attention to detail, accuracy, good in deadlines. So therefore, the questions will be geared around finding out if the interviewee has got those skills, the knowledge and the experience to be able to put them into that missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Okay? So a lot of time and effort goes in to preparation, and the Organisation actually gives you clues. If they're giving you a job spec, they're giving clues, this is what we're looking for. And they're not there to trip you up. Best practice is they're there to get the best person for the job. And it's important to remember that. People think interviewers are there just to trip you up. They're not. They're there to get the best person for the job. And unfortunately, this is bad news, unfortunately what you have to do is, for your preparation then, you have to take a long, hard look in the mirror. Now, I personally don't like spending too long in front of the mirror. However, when it comes to do your interview preparation, you need to. You need to look, well, who am I? What am I about? What are my strengths? What can I bring to this organisation? What have I achieved to date? What is it that people say I'm good at? Because sometimes it's hard to recognise in yourself what you're good at, because you're on the inside looking out. You don't see what other people see when they're looking at you and they're seeing you dealing with things. So it's important to take a look to see, well, what is it I'm good at? And this is a very, very hard thing to do because you're so familiar with yourself. And what you actually find is that the stuff that comes easy to you, people underestimate. But because it comes easy to you, doesn't mean it comes easy to the next person. And at the end of the day, when you're in the interview and you're sitting in that interviewee's chair, it's you that has to sell yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So you need to take that look in the mirror and work out, what is it I am good at? And just to demonstrate how hard it is, if, for example, I was asked you to fold your arms, so could you fold your arms just the way you normally fold them? Okay? Easy enough to do? Fairly comfortable? Okay. Now, do it the other way around, the way you don't normally do it. It's a wee bit more difficult, isn't it? Okay. Why did I do that exercise? I did that exercise because when you fold your arms, what's actually happened is that the neurons in your brain are used to that pathway. So our brain is made of billions and billions of neurons that send electrical messages to each other to give our bodies instructions on what to do. Because you fold your arms and you've done it over and over again, those neurons know exactly what to do. Some of you, do you get into work and think, oh gosh, I can't even remember how I got here? Okay, those neurons know exactly what to do. There's a strong neural pathway. It's like writing your signature. Strong neural pathway, but you weren't able to do that whenever you were maybe 2 or 3. You've built that strong neural pathway up over the time. When you had to do it the other way, when you do it the opposite way, you've used the other hand, for example, to write your signature, your brain had to create a new neural pathway that was a wee bit different to what you normally use. So it was a wee bit uncomfortable. Oh, this is a wee bit strange, okay? But if you practiced and practiced and practiced, it would start to get more comfortable because it's the neural pathway is starting to build up. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because the stuff that you do in work or even your activities outside of work, the stuff that comes naturally to you is the stuff that you've built up a strong neural pathway, and therefore, oh, it's just dead easy. It's just dead easy. When I'm working with clients and they say, okay, well, I just organised that conference. Oh, what do you mean just organise the conference? There's an awful lot of work goes on there, okay? So it's actually breaking, as part of your preparation, looking in the mirror, it's actually breaking it down. Well, hold on, what did I do? If somebody was to video me doing that, if there was an angry customer, what would I see myself doing? What is my thought pattern? And what you need to be able to do is to break that down, have a look at it, because then you need to be able to share that with the interviewers, because they want to know how does your brain work to make sure you've got the right skills, knowledge and experience so you're right fit for the job. And when it comes to looking for examples, they're actually looking for evidence. So therefore, if you can actually take something that you have actually done, something you've actually achieved, and give that as evidence, obviously something you've done that's relevant to the role and will add value to the role and to the organisation, they're actually looking for evidence because they've worked out what the questions are going to be, they're trying to draw that information from you, but then what they will be doing is they'll be writing it down. And again, this is best practice, but they can only write what you have said, because whenever you leave, their decision will be based on what is written down, because that's the evidence of why you did or didn't get the job. Okay, so it literally is evidence. And again, The onus is on you to give the evidence. Now the challenge is, there's a lot of preparation that needs to be done. So you'll get the job spec. Some organisations will talk about competencies and skills. If they do so, ask, is there a competency framework? Which is a lot more work is going on in the background about defining what these competencies are, defining what planning means, defining what communication skills actually look like, a lot more detail. Get as much information as you can from the organisation. Go through that job spec, highlight it, try and be in the interviewer's shoes. What are they looking for? What are they looking for? Because what you're wanting to do is match it. You're wanting to match, well, this is what I've got, this is what you're looking for, there's a match. Okay? So it's a parallel process, effectively. So you've done your research, you've looked to see, well, what have I got, what have I done, what's my experience to date? What are they looking for, okay? Now what you need to be able to do is to be in a position that you can articulate, ooh, that's good for that, articulate that so that they can hear it and write it down, okay? So this is all about communicating to the interviewers. And this is a model, there's another model around you may have heard of, the STAR model, but this is a model that I think is very, very effective to use. And it's SBO, situation, behaviour and outcome. So you will tell them about the situation, so you're giving them a marker, you're giving them a flag, this is what I'm talking about. The behaviour, this is what I have done, okay? So if you were to see me, this is what you would see me doing, so you're given a verbal description, and this is the outcome, this is what I achieved. So, for example, if the role that you were going for needed a high level of planning and organising skills, okay, and you say, oh, what have I done, what have I done? You think, well, I organised a surprise party for somebody. So you can say, oh, I organised a surprise party, and it was really good and everybody enjoyed themselves. As an interview, I go, well, that doesn't really tell me much about you. I need to know more. I need to know more. I need to lift the top of your head and look inside to see how your brain works. So what you can then do is, well, okay, well, do a mind dump. Is anybody familiar with mind maps? Do a complete mind dump. Well, what was involved? Well, I actually had to communicate with people, I had to make a plan, I had to look at the budget, I had to check if the venue was going to do what I wanted them to do, I had to make sure everybody knew what time to arrive at, I had to go and source, make sure we get the food that was going to suit for everybody. So there's lots and lots involved in, say, organising a party. But what you need to do is make it nice and clear for the interview panel. So the situation is, I organised a party for 50 people as a surprise party. We had a limited budget and I was able to do it within 4 weeks, okay? So, you've given the scope and scale of what it was involved. So the party wasn't just 2 people, it was a wee bit bigger. The behaviour, what did I do? So then what you're starting to do is you're starting to draw out, well, I identified what the budget would be and I checked with everybody if they were comfortable, if that was the contribution they wanted to make to the budget. I then gave a proposal of 3 different dates to see which option would be most suitable for people. I then researched which venue would be within our budget. I researched which catering company would be within our budget. I made out a plan of what needed to be done when. I delegated who was going to look after the music, who was going to look after the food, who was going to look after the decorations. I checked up that everybody did what they were supposed to be doing at the time they were supposed to be doing it. One person didn't, so I had to have a wee word with them and say, oh, you're behind schedule, you need to get that done. Okay, so therefore the outcome was we had a really great party, everybody knew when and where it was, we were all within budget, and it was all done in a very relaxed manner and there were no fallouts. Okay, so can you see how going from, oh, well, I organised a party, but actually pulling that out. So that's the challenge to you, is to pick up your examples, so planning and organising. Ideally, if it's something in the workplace, it's even better. And then unravelling it, it's a bit like peeling an onion, unravelling it with what's involved. Then putting the structure, oh, I did that, oh yeah, I did this, and I did, oh yeah, I remember I did this. So once you've pulled it all out, then you get the structure. So that the interview panel, oh, right, okay, I now see what process they have gone through that has demonstrated their planning skills. The other aspect of the research or preparation is research. And the research is look about the organisation, look at the job that you're going for. Is there anybody in the organisation you know that you can talk to? What are the challenges in the organisation? What are the challenges outside the organisation? What's the competition? Try and get a feel as if you're already in there, okay? And try and get a feel for it, because the interview panel may well say to you, what do you think the challenges of the role are? And I was interviewing recently and asked that question, and at least 3 people said, oh, I don't know, didn't think about it. There's the door. Okay, what does that tell you? You want the interview panel, the interviewers, to know that you're hungry and you're keen and you're able for this job. So do your research around it as well. Presenting yourself. So when it comes to the day itself, this sounds really basic, but really, really think about your timing. Give yourself plenty of time in advance so that you're sitting outside and that you're having time to compose yourself. We haven't evolved that much since caveman days. And in caveman days, we were scanning the environment for danger and threat. And in caveman days, it was saber-toothed tiger. 21st century, what's the equivalent? Interviews. Okay, so whenever you're going for your interview, your brain, danger, threat, and it's going to be dumping adrenaline into your system, okay? Now that adrenaline is for the fight or flight, and therefore the adrenaline when you go for the interview, you hear people say, oh, I just froze completely. There's so much adrenaline in your system, because the adrenaline fight, flight, or freeze. So how do you manage that adrenaline? Again, dead basic, breathe. So prior to your interview, take time to breathe. I know it sounds really, really basic, but take time to breathe. I hear people coming in and just, hello, my name is, oh my goodness. Okay, so before your interview, allow yourself a good 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes beforehand, and just take 4 big deep breaths in and 6 breaths out. And you're basically getting oxygen into your system, so your brain is getting oxygenated blood so you can think properly. You've done all your preparation, okay? You've done your research, you've looked in the mirror, you've pulled it all out. So what you need to do then is to be in a position to be able to perform, because it is a performance. There'll be a bit of adrenaline, but that's good, because you need adrenaline to perform. But if you're getting swamped with adrenaline, your brain will just shut down completely. I want out of here. Okay? So the other aspect then of presenting yourself is the whole piece around body language. Body language matters. Okay? You'll not be marked down, but it matters, because it's all about creating an impression. Also, it helps with breathing. So even now, if I were asked you to sit up straight with your shoulders back, your back straight, leaning forward a bit. If you can do that now, how does that make you feel? Just sit forward a wee bit. Yep. Don't put your back to the chair. If you put your back to the chair, you're inclined to go like this. Yeah? Back up a wee bit away from the chair so that you're sitting and you're ready to perform. Because you want to have your brain calm so you can hear the question, take your time to think about the answer, and give a good quality answer rather than a quick answer. Don't forget, the interviewers are wanting the best person for the job. They're not there to trip you up. A lot of people think having a pause is oh, it's terrible. But actually, a pause isn't too bad. And what you can do is you can prepare, you can use your phone, you can record yourself, you can hear how you sound. That'll start to build up your confidence. It'll start, remember we talked about the neural pathway, so you're used to hearing yourself speaking. You're used to hearing yourself answer that question, saying those words, formulating those words. So therefore, whenever you actually go, it's like, well, I've prepared, I've practiced, so I'm ready to perform. And your body language then gives that message, look, I'm really confident that I can do this job, because actually, confidence is key. If you look at the dictionary definition of confidence, it's to come with faith, belief, and trust. And you need to go to that interview with the faith, belief, and trust that you can do that job. Because if you don't think that, what are the interview panel going to think? And confidence isn't a bad thing. If you were going to the dentist or the doctors or the hairdressers, you would want them to have confidence that they know what they're doing. So when you go for a job, it's not a bad thing to have the confidence that you can do that job. Specifically, if you've got the evidence that you've done something similar or something like it before. So, folks, we've covered the purpose of interviews, the preparation for interviews, and what I would say is do not underestimate the time needed for preparation of interviews. It actually takes a long time, especially if you're going for to an organisation and they've referenced competencies. There is an awful lot of work that needs to go into preparing for interviews. And we've also then looked at presenting yourself. What I would also say is when it comes to presenting yourselves, as I mentioned before, get that practice in, get people to give you feedback on how you're coming across, because how you think you're coming across actually may be a lot better. How you come across may be a lot better than how you think you're coming across, and it's really good to get that feedback from other people and for you to listen and look at yourself to see how you're coming across in interviews. So preparation, if there's one thing that you can take away from today, preparation is absolutely key to success. You're going into an organisation, they have pride in their organisation, they have spent time building the organisation, they'll want to get the best person for the job. So therefore, you need to prepare and make sure that you're matching what you have is matching what the interview panel or the interviewers are actually looking for. So my name is Bain, and I work with people to actually help them identify what their strengths are, help them pull out and identify what it is they are achieving and what they're achieving well, and therefore to be able to put it in a nice articulate way so that the interview panel are getting a good, strong feedback from you and you're giving a good performance to demonstrate that you are the best person for the job. Thank you very much.